People from all over the world try their luck in Vegas. Daytime, nighttime, it doesn't matter. Life is centered around the lights and the tables inside. But today, many people are headed for Lake Mead, 30 minutes outside of town for the Budweiser Silver Cup Unlimited Hydroplane Race, the season finale. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Poyer, and welcome to Las Vegas and Lake Mead on an absolutely gorgeous September afternoon. We're down to the short strokes, the last race of 1987. And just like last year here at Las Vegas, a national champion is yet to be determined. It's between two boats, the defending national champ and current point leader, Miss Budweiser, with Jim Kropfeld, and the Miller American with driver Chip Hanauer. Jim Hendrick is down at the Budweiser camp right now to talk with Jim Kropfeld.
And down this particular boat was the one that won the National High Point Championship right here last year, but its first appearance as a backup craft this year after the mishaps at San Diego last week. And speaking of mishaps, you have your work cut out for you today, but it's not as bad as last year. Last year you had to come from behind. This year you have to stay out front.
Well, that's true. We're having a little problems, though. The boat hasn't been performing up to its equal of last year when we won here at Las Vegas, but we have to go out there and do our job. I think I'm going to run a little conservative race and try to get the high points wrapped up, and then if that works out fine, the boat's running good, then we'll go racing.
2 fourth-place finishes at 169 points each, and the elimination each will win you the national championship by 1 point if Chip Hanauer were to take them all.
Well, it's going to be a close race again. It was close last year. I guess this is what Las Vegas likes here. That's why they want to have us here for the last event of the season, and that's what makes boat racing.
All right, Jim. Good luck. Now let's check the action for Heat 1A. Here's Don.
All right, Jim, we've got a full field for this race, the Budweiser Silver Cup. Let's take a look at Heat 1A, 6 boats. First of all, Jerry Hopp out of Seattle in the U7, Miss Jackpot Foods Garrett Turbo. Then comes Ron Armstrong driving the U80 Miss Lighthouse Inn. Ron Snyder and the Holset Mrs. Madison this week at 108 plus. Jack Schafer and the Frank Kenney Toyota Volvo Mazda qualified at over 117. Scott Pierce in the Mr. Pringles, the turbine-powered boat. And finally, newcomer Larry Lauterbach driving the Cellular 1 in their first race since Madison, Indiana. We've got another 6 boats in Heat 1B on a busy, busy afternoon. Jim, let's look at the rundown.
All right, Don, but I noticed you chuckled when you said Mrs. Madison. I asked Bob Hughes, and he said we're calling it Mrs. Madison because she's about to have a little one, a new Madison for next year, and that's the reason. Now let's check out 1B. Mitch Evans in the U15 Pepsi America's Choice. Household Finance, driven by Todd Yarling. Old Boy Oberto with rookie George Woods. Miss Budweiser with Jim Kropfeld. The Sutphen Spirit, first race for this boat this year, Mike Hanson driving. And the Miller American, driven by Chip Hanauer. And the Budweiser Las Vegas Silver Cup here at Lake Mead, Nevada, starts in just a moment after this timeout.
Here's part of the crowd of better than 70, well, actually over 90,000 people, some of the tent pavilions, as we're ready to start Heat 1A. Some of the drivers going out. Larry Lauterbach driving for the man on the right, Steve Reynolds, who miraculously is even here after that horrible accident on July 5th. The helmet, the gloves, Steve basically a tutor, you might say, for Larry. Scott Pierce, a veteran of Unlimited Racing, Limiteds as well, strapping in to the Mr. Pringles turbine-powered unlimited hydroplane, and what a beautiful sight. Since July 5th when that boat flipped, it's back and it's racing. And Steve Reynolds is back as well, not as a driver, but certainly as a consultant. Steve Reynolds.
Yeah.
What do you think, seeing that baby of yours go out again?
It's hard, but I like to see it going out just like that.
What'd you tell Larry just before he headed out?
Good luck. Good luck, and be careful.
And turn left.
And turn left, yeah.
This is Jack Schafer driving the boat headed up by Jerry Kenney, the Kenney Toyota Volvo, and let's look at the drivers. First of all, Jerry Hopp out of the Seattle area, driving the Jackpot Foods Garrett Turbo. Ron Armstrong, been in the last couple races, starting in Seattle in '87, driving the Miss Lighthouse Inn. Ron Snyder, the veteran out of the state of Ohio, driving for the community of Madison, Indiana. Jack Schafer and the Kenney Toyota Volvo Mazda, long name. Many moons ago, this man was the Rookie of the Year, Scott Pierce, driving the Mr. Pringles. And technically a rookie, Larry Lauterbach in his first competitive race in the Unlimiteds, even though he's a veteran at the limited level. Let's go racing. A full complement of boats today, a full 12-boat field, 6 in each heat, as you see, and the Mrs. Madison. We'll talk more, as Jim mentioned briefly what that's all about. The start is good on this 3-lap Heat 1A. All preliminary heats, only 3 laps. We have an extra flight, that being 3A and 3B, but here come the boats, and only 5 are running. It looks like the Kenney Toyota did not make the start, so 5 boats running as they go into the first turn. On the outside with the blue air intake system, that being the Cellular 1 making its return. It tried to qualify down in San Diego. Jim Lucero able to build that boat back up after that horrible accident in Madison, Indiana, involving driver Steve Reynolds. The boat is back, though, and competing with Larry Lauterbach out of the state of Virginia at the helm. And you can see it's like an ocean out there right now. Huge swells, really causing problems. The Holset Mrs. Madison, Ron Snyder, struggling his way through that second, or check that first turn, as they now go into the second turn. Again, only 3 laps, so it's very quick. You've got to get your business done in a hurry. Scotty Pierce and the Mr. Pringles in first place in lane number 1, and in lane number 2 to his outside hip. Ooh, nearly hooking it was Larry Lauterbach in the Cellular 1. The 2 Sponsons digging in the pickle forks, and he came around a little harder than he wanted to say the least. Checking on the speeds on lap number 1. Goodness, only 106 and 104 for the 2 lead boats. That tells you how bad it is out there. Both of them qualifying at much faster than that. There's the Lighthouse Inn with Ron Armstrong out of Southern California. Some of the fans here in the pits. Better than 90,000 people here, we're told. A good crowd as they come down in front of the pits on lap number 2. The Holset Miss Madison there, and you saw in the background. And Scott Pierce now holding on to first place, going down the back chute. In second, Larry Lauterbach, Cellular 1, owned by Steve Woomer out of Seattle, Washington. Both boats out of the Seattle area, and a good race for first and second. Scott Pierce, the winner in Detroit. Look at the boats as they go way up, thrown up into the air because of these swells. This just isn't good, safe racing. It's that simple. This water is horrible right now for these boats to try to even run, let alone compete. But somehow Lauterbach is still up there. He's knocking on the door and challenging Scott Pierce, and he's got him. Cellular 1 moving into first place. Lauterbach, for the first time in his career, leading in an unlimited hydroplane race. Scott Pierce and the Mr. Pringles in second place. Their engine, the turbine, the marine turbine system, not working in that salt water down in San Diego in the Gold Cup last week. But they are back on fresh water and performing much better, about as well as the water will allow it. Ron Snyder here, he's a great rough water racer. But boy, when you got conditions like this, it's just a matter of attrition, a matter of survival. And again, Lauterbach almost hooks the Cellular 1. That creates incredible stress on the front of those sponsons. There's a spar that goes from sponson to sponson across in front of the driver, keeping them together. But the stress and the force is unbelievable. Coming down on lap number 3 with the lead, and it looks like he'll get 400 points. Yes, indeed. The Cellular 1, first place, and second place here in Heat 1A goes to Scott Pierce and the Mr. Pringles. The numbers, as you see, only 5 boats finishing. The Kenney Toyota unable to start, but the Holset Mrs. Madison, the Lighthouse Inn, and Jackpot Foods coming in 5th. Down to the pits.
All right, the first competitive ride in an unlimited first competition, and he wins his first heat. Not too shabby, Larry.
Thank you, Jimmy. I'd say it's a neat boat. It's just a great honor for the whole Cellular 1 team, Jim Lucero, Steve Woomer. These guys went way on the limb to put the rookie driver in this boat. And
but you're really not a rookie. You've raced so many races in your time in other classes and have been a champion, but you moved up.
No, this is the true champion right here.
Yeah. Well, listen, you took a pretty good seat away from this guy. Of course, he's anxious to come back.
Yeah, I know that. He keeps standing by my side, and I say, "Look, Larry, don't do too good now."
I no. Tell him that too. Don't do too good.
But no, it's really great. It's the whole thing is really exciting.
Cellular 1 winner of Heat 1A, Larry Lauterbach, and of course his coach, the big guy, Steve Reynolds. How about the Mr. Pringles action? Let's go down to Don. Don?
My, what a difference a week makes. Get away from that salt water, and you look pretty darn good out there, Scott.
Yeah, Don, the boat ran pretty good. The conditions are really poor, and can't keep the boat in the water, and I got tangled up with Lauterbach down on the first turn, and he didn't hold his lane real good, so I had some damage on the wing. We can run a lot harder than that. The problem that we have is that the boat's not in the water at all. We just keep doing the big leaps and bounds. We do that, we're overspeeding the turbines. That's worse than salt water. That'd take the life right out of them. So I'm real concerned right now that we'll be able to get all the heats in. The boat is running excellently. If we can keep the engines together, we'll have her made.
Next up, the continuing battle for the World Championship here in Las Vegas. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Here he is, Jim Kropfeld of the Budweiser, the man of the hour who has a world title within his grasp if he can perform today, suiting up. And the man who hopes to have something to say about it, Chip Hanauer, suiting up as well for the Miller American. This is Todd Yarling driving the Household Finance Corporation as Hanauer comes out now. All the drivers concerned about the water, they saw what the boats did in Heat 1A. The swells were causing fits as Hanauer waits to get in. Looks like you're right on time.
Yeah, looks like it. I just hope I can put the boat where it wants to be.
Todd, that seems to be a concern because the water was so rough in 1A. It's tough keeping the boat on the water.
Yeah, it is. And with our turbochargers, they like a constant load on them, so I'm really going to have to baby it. If I get to flying too much, I'm going to have to slow down.
Something on this man's mind? A national title, of course, Bernie Little. But his crew is helping Richie Sutphen's crew with the Sutphen Spirit, a new hydroplane. And Mike Hanson, got to be a nervous fellow right now in his first competitive ride in a turbine-powered boat. The team's based out of Florida as the Budweiser's about ready to go out. Bernie Little got to have butterflies as they try to get yet another world title. Kropfeld won it in '84, did so last year. They hope to make it 2 in a row as the Miller heads out. There goes the Budweiser. Bernie Little, deja vu. You could win another national title with the boat you used last year.
Well, I hope so, Don. We put the same combination in that we won here with last year, and this is the first time we've tried it all week. We've had our multitude of problems, but you know Jim, he'll drive it right on through it, and if anybody can win it, he'll do it.
Good luck today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Here are the men that'll be racing in Heat 1B. Mitch Evans driving Pepsi, America's Choice. Ed Cooper, the owner of this boat, also Ed Cooper Jr. Out of Madison, Indiana. Hanover, to be specific, Todd Yarling and Jim Sedam's Household Finance Corporation. George Woods out of Seattle and the boy Oberto. Jim Harvey owning that boat. Jim Kropfeld and the Bud going after the national title. And the man he's got to beat, well, at least he's got to get a lot of points today. Mike Hanson, one of them, Sutphen Spirit, the turbine-powered boat. And Chip Hanauer, top qualifier here and a winner a week ago in the Gold Cup. Time for 1B. A full 6-boat field again in Heat 1B. The Miller American, a winner in the Gold Cup just a week ago. The Sutphen Spirit you saw, that's making its debut in 1987. All 6 boats are out and running. The Budweiser out in front with Jim Kropfeld coming down for the start. Oh, you can see, you heard the gun, and the Budweiser had already gone clear out of the picture frame. Let's see if we get a call on it. In the meantime, Jim Kropfeld out in front of the pack in the backup Miss Budweiser after the flip in San Diego 1 week ago. This is the backup boat, and he is racing for a world championship. As best we can figure, if he picks up a 2nd place today in one of these heats, he will indeed pick up the national championship. Needs very few points. It's virtually a lock. But the Budweiser, of course, wanting to pick it up here as soon as possible during the day and then relax and have fun the rest of the afternoon. There's the Oberto. Now, we've just gotten word that the Oboy has been penalized. As you see the Miller American and the Budweiser, the Oberto has been penalized a lap for hitting a buoy near the starting line. We don't know what that's all about, but that's the word we get. So George Woods and the Oberto penalized a lap, and that puts him at the back of the field. The Miller American running in clean water right now moved out into 2nd. Check that 1st place. The Budweiser is in 2nd place. Again, this is the backup boat, not qualifying anywhere near what that earlier Budweiser boat that had won 5 races this season with Kropfeld aboard. But again, all they need is very few points to pick up the world championship, and that is top priority for the Budweiser camp. Miller American in 1st place, and again in 2nd place, the Budweiser. But again, it did indeed jump the gun. You could tell. You could see the boat go past the starting line when the gun went off. In fact, it was out of the picture. The Miller American, however, holding on to 1st place. Hanauer, not really much of a chance to win the national championship unless the Budweiser were to break today, and Hanauer would win every single heat it entered, which would be 1,600 points. But who knows? Crazier things have happened in unlimited hydroplane racing. This boat, again, the backup boat for the Miller American, but it is almost oblivious to rough water. It's been that way throughout its past. One of the winningest hulls in the history of hydroplane racing. Chip Hanauer out of Seattle, Washington, coming down on lap number 2 in 1st place aboard the Miller American with an average speed of about 117 miles per hour. The Budweiser physically in 2nd place. The standings really are a bit messed up right now because of the Budweiser and the Oberto. We'll have to straighten them out when we get to the actual final results. But in the meantime, look at the great deck-to-deck race, at least, between Woods and Kropfeld. The Oberto and the Budweiser going into the second, or rather the first turn here on lap 3. Some of the crew watching from the beach here, where they have very long docks. It's such shallow water, they have to take them way out there to get them into deep enough water to go racing. Again, the boy Oberto. There goes George Woods out of Seattle, the rookie of 1987. Most likely rookie of the year, but then again, Mike Hanson is also a rookie in the Sutphen Spirit, making its debut in 1987. The Miller American, the backup boat, the last you'll see of it, more than likely, is in first place and lapping the Pepsi America's Choice. So the winner of Heat 1B on his way towards a good day, he hopes anyway, Chip Hanauer and the Miller American. This boat being penalized, the Oberto, after hitting a buoy, we're told. George Woods will get you the official results here right away. In fact, here they are now. They've got Sutphen Spirit, the U66, the new turbine coming in at second, the Budweiser in third place, Household Finance with Todd Yarling in 169 in fourth, then the Oberto and Pepsi America's Choice. Strange heat. Let's go down to the pits. Chip, what happened out there?
Well, boat ran good. Everything went well. I really felt Jim Kropfeld had jumped the gun by a long ways, but I haven't heard if they called him on it.
Did he run an extra lap? It was looking like he may have run an extra lap because he just came in.
I don't know. We were on our way in, so I'm not sure, but from where I sat, he was way over.
Well, Bernie, I know you're going for the Points National High Point Championship with a third place finish, 225 points. You're about 114, 15 points away.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. It did make me feel good to see the Miss Budweiser be the first one in the first turn. We know he can outpull all of them, but we told him just go out and get some points and cool it. And we get that 400 points put away, and now 100 and whatever. Then we'll go for the boat race.
In other words, you're low on equipment, you got a backup boat, you're going to take it safe until you know you have it.
That's exactly what we're doing.
And then it's go for broke the last race of the year.
That's what it's going to take, and the Miss Budweiser will be at the winner's circle.
Down at the dock, that's Chip Hanauer talking with Commissioner Don Jones, talking about whether or not the Budweiser jumped the gun. He certainly feels like he has a case, and our pictures showed that the Budweiser was well past the starting line. We'll be back right after this.